My brothers and sisters, I hope your weekend went well, that it was a time of our Blessed Mother leading you towards her Son Jesus as we continue to go into our third week of the preparation for consecration to Jesus through Mary. Our first week, we talked about St. Louis de Montfort, that great French saint who taught us what it was like to have Mary as our queen. And when we give a small offering, the queen brings it to the king, and the king loves it all the more, not because it is small, but it is because it is from and through his queen. So it speaks of the merits of coming from the Blessed Mother. Maximilian Kolbe, in our second week, he showed us how our Mother Mary was the Immaculate Conception, how she was the created Immaculate Conception, and that she took this name from the union that she had in a very special way by the overshadowing of the uncreated Immaculate Conception, the Holy Spirit, and how powerfully united she is with the Holy Spirit. And so how the Holy Spirit, which is sent as our advocate and guide, works in and through her in a beautiful way as Mary continues to bring the world towards her Son. This week, we're going to be talking about Mother Teresa, a beautiful saint of our modern times that we all know for her beautiful works with the poor. But she also had a very deep living out of Marian consecration and a devotion. Not as much theologically as our first two saints, but she expresses it and still makes it deeper for us in a relational aspect. And so I wanted to talk about Mother Teresa before we dive into the new depth that she will give us in Mary consecration. Mother Teresa was born in 1910. She lived in northern Macedonia. Of course, she spent most of her life in India and in Calcutta, but she started off in Macedonia. She had a beautiful phrase. Everyone knows Mother Teresa. In every convent of her sisters, there's a crucifix, and right underneath the crucifix, right by Jesus' side, it says, "I thirst." And that is the entry point to her entire way of thinking about Jesus Christ, that he had a thirst for souls, a thirst to know you, to be in a relationship with you, and to give himself for us as he receives the love from us. And so Mother Teresa, it's no doubt that she, being born into a parish of her Sacred Heart, had a deep devotion to Jesus' heart, continued that. When she was 5, she received the Eucharist. When she was 12, she knew that she was called to be a missionary, to go out into the world to serve the heart of Jesus. And then when she was 18, she joined the Loretto Sisters, the Institute of the Blessed Virgin Mary. And it was at that point in time that she left her home area of Macedonia and moved to India. Now, she served there for a decade and a half with the Loretto Sisters until, with her spiritual director, she makes this solemn promise and vow to Jesus that she would hold nothing back from him. Nothing back from him. And so this came to the test when she was 36. She received a call within her call, that she was meant to leave the Loretto Sisters, whom she loved, the work that she loved, and that she was supposed to start the Missionaries of Charity. Now, it was tough at first. Her bishop didn't want to listen to her. They didn't want this particular religious community, but she continued to trust and to not hold anything back from Jesus, and to continue to push for the Missionaries of Charity to be started. And of course, they were, and they did beautiful work serving the poor, meeting Jesus in what Mother Teresa would call his most distressing disguise, seeing Jesus in the poor, and that whatever we did for the poor, we did for Jesus. Now, we can see how beautiful this work was, but what you don't know is that during this time, as soon as she started the Missionaries of Charity, there was a darkness that came into Mother Teresa's life. She felt very absent from the Lord. She still believed in him very deeply, but she didn't feel him. There was a deep sense of darkness, as she described it. And it went that way for a long time, for almost 11 years, until she said this: "For the first time in 11 years, I have come to love the darkness. For I believe now that it is a very, very small part of Jesus' darkness and pain on earth. She saw that any of the difficulties that she experienced in her life is a sharing, because we know that Jesus went through difficult and dark times. Just think of when his apostles abandoned him, the agony in the garden, when he was nailed to the cross, when he was mocked and made fun of. So she viewed her pain and suffering as a way of being able to be in union with him, to meet him. She said, "Do you understand, brothers and sisters, or whoever you may be, suffering and pain and humiliation? This is the kiss of Jesus. At times you come so close to Jesus on the cross that he can kiss you. I once told this to a lady who was suffering very much. She answered, 'Tell Jesus not to kiss me, to stop kissing me.' That suffering has to come. That came in the life of Our Lady. That came in the life of Jesus. It has to come in our life also. Only never put on a long face. Suffering is a gift from God. It is between you and Jesus, alone inside." So if we're going through any difficulty, know that Jesus did too, and that he gives it to us as a way of uniting us with him, and that when we offer it to him, there's great power, just like there was great power when he offered it to the Father. Mother Teresa, you'll notice within that quote, mentioned that Our Lady was right there with Jesus in the suffering, and she can help us. And so we'll continue to walk in and through that with our Blessed Mother, as Mother Teresa knew about suffering, knew about how it united us to the Lord, and important for our Marian consecration, knew how it would help us to draw near to Mary during those times. God bless, and I'll see you tomorrow.